everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World Hammond Collection review. Today we're taking a look at the new True Effects Stegosaurus. Another very highly anticipated figure. I've always wanted a Hammond Collection Stegosaurus. I really didn't think it was going to happen because up until the Carnotaurus, when they introduced that new, mid-size size class between the, like the Rex size figures and the smaller figures like Baryonyx and Parasaurolophus, I didn't think they could pull it off. But now that they introduced that size class, I am very, very happy with the size of this figure, and I haven't even taken the package yet. So I ended up pre-ordering this figure from Target. I think it retails for around $40. At least that was the pre-order price. I think it's gone up like a few dollars online since the release, but I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to pick this figure up for yourself. So let's just take a quick look at the packaging, standard style Hammond Collection packaging with that window that doesn't really show too much of the figure. For in this case, for the Stegosaurus, it shows a majority of it compared to some of the other figures. We have a nice rendering of the Stegosaurus, Jurassic World Hammond Collection Stegosaurus, True FX logo, which is a first for this whole wave, is the new True FX branding. I really, really, really miss the high quality toy photos on the side of the Hammond Collection packaging. I feel like Mattel's kind of going a little cheap with that. We actually have the Lost World logo on the side of the box and some more pictures of the figure. That is an absolutely beautiful looking figure. And the Stegosaurus admiring the distinctive plates and spike tail. Dr. Sarah Harding, one of the dumbest characters in the Jurassic franchise, comes up close to a young Stegosaurus while trying to capture a photo. The noise from her camera causes the Stegosaurus herd to go on the attack. Yep, preaching everybody, leave no trace, don't touch, blah, blah, blah. Gonna pet the baby Stegosaurus. So anyways, enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. And here is the Stegosaurus out of the packaging, and all I have to say is, wow, this figure absolutely blew me away once I connected the tail on it. This is, what the True FX branding should be. Just the paint apps are absolutely incredible on this figure. You just have all that nice green and the cream color, all dry brush with brown. There's so many layers of paint on here. It's definitely one of the nicest painted Mattel figures. And just look at the plates, just the dry brushing and washes on the plate really add a lot of life to this figure. The articulation is great. I only have one complaint about it: no articulation on the mouth. That is hugely disappointing. We've had figures with smaller heads in the Hammond collection that have articulated mouth. Zero excuse why this figure doesn't. And other than that, I think this thing is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And for measurements, this figure is 17 inches long from the tip of the little head to the tip of that spiked tail, around 43.2 centimeters, about 7 3/4 inches high to the highest plate. Above the hips are 19.7 centimeters, so the Stegosaurs in the Lost World were around 33 feet long, a little bit bigger than their real life counterparts, or around 10 meters. So I put this figure in the 123 scale range. Yeah, it's not quite that 118 scale that the Hammond Collection is striving for. I do realize they have to work with, box constraints and budget, blah, blah, blah. But this is a very big and bulky figure, so I can kind of overlook that, slight scaling issue. It just looks really good. It's bigger than any of the other Stegosaurus figures that we've gotten so far in the Jurassic line from both companies. All three: Kenner, Hasbro, and Mattel. Now take a look at some of the finer details on this absolutely gorgeous looking figure. I am totally enamored with this thing. This might be one of my favorite Hammond Collection figures. There's a lot of great figures in this line, but large herbivores have been far and few in between, and just the paint apps and detail on this thing really makes it stand up, stand head and shoulders above a lot of figures in this line. So anyways, let's take a look at the head. The head is nicely detailed, very reminiscent of the Lost World Stegosaurus. You have a nice bright red glass eye with a black pupil. Looks really nice. The beak is decked out in gray paint. You have a nice transition of kind of like a very light yellow to a lighter green as it transitions to that darker green above the head. Nice dry brushing of brown on top of the head to bring out all that nice scale detail. Still annoyed that it does not have mouth articulation. Yeah, it would have broken up the sculpt to add that joint, but like I said, almost every figure, minus a couple Hammond Collection Triceratops, don't have mouth articulation. And then going down to the neck, you can see more nice folds and wrinkles and more of that brown dry brushing with the very, very nicely detailed plates. The plates all along this figure are really nicely done. They're made out of a soft rubber flexible material, and they have a lot of nice washes on there to bring out that nice, keratin look of the plates. Going down to the forearms, you got a nice transition of dark green to a lighter green to that cream color. You got that, speckling mixed in with the plastic that we see a lot in the main line. Kind of weird to see it on the Hammond Collection, but it really does not bother me. All the toe claws are painted in a dark brown. Going down to the body, got that nice cream coat. It's a very, elephant looking, pattern on this animal, like the way the skin is, like not a lot of scaling, just a lot of folds and wrinkles, but that nice dry brushing of brown really highlights all the nice sculpting detail on here. And you can see all that dark green along the back with that brown. Going to the hind legs, same thing. You can see all those black flecks mixed in with the plastic. The toe claws painted in, same thing, dark brown. And then going down to that nice rubber tail, more of that dark green and cream color. And then you get to the thagomizers, and compared to the rest of the figure, which is so nicely detailed, they're just kind of like really flat looking. I wish like a little bit of a dry brush of brown to really highlight all those grooves on there would really make it match the rest of the figure. It just really looks off with that flat, light color paint for the thagomizers. Other than that, I think this is an absolutely beautifully painted figure. For articulation, the head can rotate 360 degrees. There's a nice pivot on the head joint for up and down, and some side-to-side movement for the neck joint, some upwards and downwards movement. And let's turn the figure facing the camera. Look at that adorable little face. Working those two joints together, you can get some really, really nice side-to-side movement. For the forearms, they're on a hinge joint, and they can swing out pretty wide. We got a little flying Stegosaurus. And going, wow, these joints are very, very tight in here. I do like tight joints on these figures. The arms can move backwards and forwards. The elbow is on kind of like a very clicky, soft ratchet joint. You get just about under 90 degrees of bend on that elbow joint, and the leg can stick out completely straight. And for the forelimbs, they can move back that far, and they can move up just a little bit, and they are also on a little bit of a clicky joint. There must be some teeth on these hinge joints to add for some stability, which I really, really like. For the hind limbs are on a very, very clicky ratchet joint. They can go back that far, and they can go probably a little bit further than that, and then they start to bang against the stomach. But that's okay, because if you look at it from the back, you can see those hip joints can pivot out to stop from rubbing up against that. And then for the knees, they can only extend out about that far. They only can bend in that much. That's always my biggest complaint with these hind leg joints. I wish we could get a little bit more bend, maybe a deeper cut to allow that calf muscle to extend into the mold. I have the same complaint with Beast of the Mesozoic figures. We all know I love those. And then for the hind legs, same thing, very clicky joints that can move out, and they can pivot just a little bit from side to side. And for the tail, this whole tail is a very soft rubber, flexible wire tail. You squeezing it, it doesn't feel like a wire. It feels like a jointed mechanism in here. But you can get some nice bend on that tail. You can see, I wish it could bend just a little bit more. I wish the wire would extend all the way into here, or at least have a multi-jointed tail. I mean, I do appreciate the real feel, texture of the tail, but I feel like you can get a little bit more out of that. Stegosaurus is known to have a pretty flexible tail, so that's just a little bit disappointing on the tail on an otherwise very, very great figure. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with the Legacy Collection Sarah Harding. And here it is with the Hammond Collection Baby Stegosaurus. I think this came out about a year or so ago with the Lost World Baby T-Rex. As you can see, this little figure, which has a smaller head than the Stegosaurus, has an articulated jaw. Yeah, I know it breaks up the sculpt, but I just want to have an articulated jaw on every Hammond Collection figure. I feel like if it doesn't have that, it really doesn't live up to the Hammond Collection. And next up, we have the original Kenner Lost World Stegosaurus. This is my old toy. As you can see, it has seen some playtime. It's missing its battle damage feature. That piece is super easy to lose. And the other one over here is the Legacy Collection, mainline Stegosaurus, and this is what they passed off as a Lost World Stegosaurus. Is way too brown. Obviously, the Hammond Collection one is far superior. And let's just do a couple more Jurassic Stegosaurs. The one in the front over here is the original Jurassic Park Kenner Series 1 Stegosaurus. Really weird looking animal. It did not appear in the film, and I have no idea what they were thinking when they sculpted this thing. Everything about it is wrong, but I just love the character, just the look of this figure. It was a very beloved toy of mine, and actually it's still in great condition. Still has the battle damage piece, and the one over here is the Dino Escape Stegosaurus, which looks more like a Lost World Stegosaurus than the actual Legacy Collection Lost World Stegosaurus. Next is a couple other Stegosaurus species from the Mattel line. There's actually quite a decent amount of Stegosaurs in it. These are the ones I could wrangle out of my boxed up figures right now. We have the Hesperosaurus. I think it's part of the Wild Roar line. Very close relative to Stegosaurus. And in the front over here, we have the Dominion Merigaya. And oh, look, that has an articulated jaw. Just absolutely terrible looking figure, though, in my opinion. And next up, this is mostly Hammond Collection Lost World figures that we've gotten. And the back over here is the Geosternbergia, the Pachycephalosaurus, the Parasaurolophus, which was one of the first Hammond Collection figures, the newly released Tiger Velociraptor, the baby T-Rex, and in the back over here we have one of the Legacy Collection buck T-Rexes. There's another one that came with the Ian Malcolm and the Mercedes vehicle. And just want to say, I got to talk about it. The Buck Rex is getting released in the Hammond Collection for a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember, we had that failed crowdfunding with the Buck Rex and the JP Gates paywall behind a $250 price tag. Now the Buck Rex they're releasing is $85, and it's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I don't know why Mattel hates the Buck Rex. It's been one of the most requested figures, I think, besides the Spinosaurus. I think it's like number 2 or 1B. So I personally just think it's an absolute slap in the face to make the Buck Rex a convention exclusive. And it's not even like a fully retooled T-Rex figure. It still has all the problems the original Hammond Collection T-Rex had. The line has grown so much over the last 3 years. I really don't know what they're doing. Mattel is very tone deaf when it comes to what their fans want. So that's just my quick little rant about how I feel about this upcoming Buck convention exclusive. And lastly, here's a group shot of this entire new Hammond Collection wave. We have the amazing Spinosaurus, the Stygimoloch, Troodon, and Lost World Velociraptor. This is the first wave of figures with that new True FX branding. You can really see the difference with these figures compared to older Hammond Collection figures. There is definitely a lot more paint apps and a lot more attention to detail. Still, there's a little bit of ways to go. I wish there was a little bit, some stuff was done differently, like the paint apps on the Stegosaurus Thagomisers, a little bit more blue on the Spinosaurus sail. But it's really coming along, and I absolutely just adore the Hammond Collection. It's a Jurassic fan's dream come true, and Mattel is handling it pretty well for the most part. So final thoughts on the Hammond Collection Stegosaurus. I think this is a beautiful figure. It's big, hefty, and bulky. Definitely worthy of that $40-something price tag. The paint apps are probably the best I've ever seen in the Hammond Collection. Just all the colors are really blended and thought out through the whole entire figure. A couple of nitpicks, obviously the lack of an articulated jaw. I wish there was more bend to that tail. Maybe a jointed tail would have worked better instead of just one straight rubber wire tail, and more paint on the Thagomisers. One thing I did notice about this figure while messing around with the review, it is very back heavy. If you put those legs forward, the figure does fall backwards. It's really light in the front and really heavy in the back. So there's definitely is a balancing issue with this figure. But other than that, I think this thing is gorgeous. Definitely up there as one of the best Hammond Collection figures released so far. Like I said at the beginning of the review, we got this figure off of Target. Link is down below in the description if you want to pick one up for yourself. So that will do it for the review. I did get in the Paposuchomimus. I will be reviewing that. Got the Holland Good Torosaurus on the way. Those long-term fans of this channel know Torosaurus is my favorite ceratopsian, so definitely have to review that. So stay tuned for those reviews coming up very soon on the channel. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.